Power! Or did I do that right? Power! Yeah. This doesn't feel right. I know what it is. I'm sitting in a stupid chair. Can't spin. Hey friends, Ash here. Welcome back to Gents. Hope that you're doing well. Today we're talking about fragrances that will elevate your fragrance game. These are fragrances that'll have you stand out above the crowd, even if you have to shout out loud. So that's what we got. Fragrances smell friggin' awesome. You're gonna love these. I sound like the slap chop guy. What am I doing? Let's jump into it. Gonna have each one of these linked in the description below. Feel free to check them out down there. Also, if you shop at maxaroma or twistedlily.com, use the code GENTS10 for 10% off your order. No particular order, as always. We're just kind of jumping right into it. And I'm gonna kick things off with Loden. This is from Jacques Fath. And this fragrance, for a little while, was not super easy to find in the US, but now you can find it pretty easily. And I've seen it pop up at discounters for a great price. And that's really where I think you need to get this from, if at all possible, is discounters. Because when you get it for that low price, you feel awesome about what you got. And that certainly is the case with this one. And another thing you're gonna love here, zoom in. Oh. That's right, magnetic cap. Oh, that's a strong one. It doesn't pop up when you spin it, -1 point for that, but plus 10 points for strong magnets. So this one is a vetiver fragrance, and it's a very good one. Very wearable, versatile, classy, has kind of a nuttiness to it with a good amount of freshness, so easy to pull off during the spring or fall especially. Really nice scent, and as I said, if you can pick this up for a good price, well worth an addition to the collection. And it's kind of a nice entryway into vetiver to an extent. It's not like gray vetiver, easy to wear, but it's also not, you know, one of those ones that's very earthy and smoky and heavy. So it's like a nice midway point for somebody that's getting into vetiver, where you want something that has a little more of that edge to it, but you don't want something that's gonna be super difficult to pull off. From there, Versace The Dreamer. I love The Dreamer. I've got a couple bottles. I've got this one and then a vintage bottle. So I have both the box styles of this one, both iterations, if you want to call it that. I mean, frankly, they smell pretty much the same. I know that on Fragrantica at this point, they have Versace The Dreamer Original and then Versace The Dreamer, which I do find to be so odd because I can't think off the top of my head of another fragrance that they have listed in such a way. Sure, you've got like Dior Homme and Dior Homme 2020 and stuff like that, but that makes more sense for Versace to get 2 listings for the Dreamer, ostensibly because the box changed. Yeah, kind of odd. This stuff though, fantastic. Very unique as far as designer fragrances go. Pretty affordable from discounters, so that's a positive. Bottle looks beautiful. I love the way this looks. The atomizer built in, really nice touch. Do be aware though, this is not a fragrance, especially nowadays, that fits the mold of what's really popular right now. Has a lot of notes in there. It has a really nice aromatic punch to it. It has tobacco, but it's not a pipe tobacco, more like a semi-dry tobacco leaf. I think it smells fantastic. The opening to some people is a little divisive. As it dries down, it's much more palatable to more people, but I also like the opening here. So this one all the way around, I think, is a banger. So unique, and it is a compliment puller. Now, this one, kind of a curveball. This is a clone. It is the only clone in this list. It's The Tux from Maison Alhambra. I reviewed this one recently, and it just completely blew my socks off. This stuff is way better than I expected. Bottle is extremely angular. Like, this is the most clear-cut, a rectangular bottle I think I've ever seen, or at least from clone fragrance brands. And I brought this up in the review, but it has like legitimately sharp glass edges to it because it's just so, just a straight line of glass. Presentation, all things considered, for a cheap clone, looks good. The atomizer is a little bit turdy, but everything else, top notch. This is a clone of YSL's Tuxedo, and it is an unholy bargain. This gets so close to Tuxedo, it should be illegal. And I think that it almost takes that throne completely away from Roca's Mustache eau de parfum of being the best cheap alternative to YSL's Tuxedo. At this point, I think the Tux has Wally pipped it. Mustache Eau de Parfum is still great in its own right, and that is obviously its own fragrance. The Tux is just trying to clone something else, but if you just want the cheapest, best alternative to Tuxedo, here it is. After that, we've got Amouage Enclave. This one has become much more attractive since it has popped up at discounters for a steep discount. $360, you know, you look at that price point and you go, pretty pricey. I think I might spend that on something else. Really sparkly opening to this one, just grabs your attention right away. A lot of mint in the open to this one. It's also got cardamom, it's got some amber extreme and leather. But yeah, Enclave, really nice, especially going to help you stand out from other people that are wearing primarily designer fragrances out there. It does have that wearability that Amouage has been leaning into more with its newer releases, trying to make fragrances that are a little bit more usable on a day-to-day basis, it would seem. I'm not a massive fan of the 4 that they just came out with, but Enclave I think is really good for fall and winter time. After that guy, Ralph's Club, yeah, the Parfum from Ralph Lauren. Ralph's Club Eau de Parfum, when that came out, it was just getting trashed and tarnished and dumped on just to mythic levels when it first came out. But yeah, that's what happened with Ralph Lauren, Ralph's Club. A lot of people taking shots at it when it first released. And this happens very, very often. I've talked about this with some fragrance friends, but when something first drops on the market, in many circumstances, not always, but in many circumstances, there will be a rush to hate on it. It happened with Ralph's Club. And the first time I smelled Ralph's Club, initially I was like, oh yeah, this is kind of boring. I don't really dig it. Just off initial spray, first, 15 seconds reaction. But then as it dried down, I was like, oh, this is actually really good. As far as, versatility, compliment factor, that ease of use, Ralph's Club, great release. And the Parfum, I think, is actually even a little bit better. Sets itself apart from some of the fragrances it competes against. It has that compliment factor. It is ever so slightly more mature, more refined than the first Ralph's Club. The lavender, clary sage, vetiver in here, expertly done. I love the scent. Let's follow that one up with You or Someone Like You. This is one where the opening just makes it for me. Just dig it. I will just smell this stuff any chance I get, like right now. Just kind of, yeah, that is fantastic. It reminds me of spring and early summer. And right now, where it's cold outside, this is a nice pick-me-up. Super green and minty and done in a very realistic way. So when you smell it, it smells very much like somebody muddling those leaves, muddling those mint leaves and letting those oils out. It doesn't smell like a designer mint where you have this, very sweet mint in the open that's not really realistic smelling. And there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, a lot of fragrances have that and they do very well, but something about that realistic mint just kind of opens up your eyes. It gets compared sometimes to the smell of a mojito. So just like a mixed mojito drink. And like I said, I think spring, summertime stuff is fantastic. Love it. One of my favorites from the house. Let's follow that up with my good friends, Malul London, Citizen Jacques Parfum. Completely biased here, completely biased. Also, my fragrances, you knew was coming. Jet Black Enigma, Blue Ridge, Terra Nova, just absolute beasts of fragrances. Obviously, I absolutely love them. I worked on the 3 fragrances, Terra Nova and Blue Ridge. I spent the better part of a year working on. They are available at every Perfumania and every fragrance outlet store in the United States. Also available at Michael Malul, their website down below. Use the code GENTS for 20% off anything that you buy on that website, but you should be buying my stuff. And just real quick, I want to give a shout out, a thank you to you guys for the support, because we have run through close to 20,000 bottles of the 3 fragrances since they launched. So shout out again. Thank you guys so much. Love you guys. Back to this, Citizen Jacques Parfum. This smells similar to Citizen Jacques Absolute. I do not like Citizen Jacques Absolute. I'm not a fan. The guys at Michael Malul know that. They know the drill, We've talked about it. Citizen Jacques Parfum is basically like a follow-up, a direct descendant from Citizen Jacques Absolute, but it basically takes Citizen Jacques Absolute and improves on everything. It still has that very sweet opening. Some people might say like a little shampoo-like, but in a very appealing way. Kind of like you might say Greenleaf from Parfums de Marly is apple shampoo-like, but not exactly. Maybe it's not the best way to describe it, but that's what we're rolling with right now. It's got great performance, lasts a long time. It's a big compliment puller, much smoother than Citizen Jacques Absolute. You can tell the quality here is ramped up over Citizen Jacques Absolute. It basically is an evolution of that scent where you take that idea, that DNA, you rework it and retool it into something better, bigger, faster, stronger. That's what it is. So for me, Citizen Jacques Parfum makes Citizen Jacques Absolute obsolete. Let's follow that one up with Brioni Eau de Parfum Intense. This one has a really nice oud note that has a fruity sweetness to it. It's a classy men's fragrance, but it has this nice sex appeal to it. Really wonderful for fall and winter time or evenings out. I say this every time, but Brioni Eau de Parfum Intense does not smell like Brioni Eau de Parfum, so don't get the two confused. Don't get your wires crossed. You'll have a bad time. Not that Brioni Eau de Parfum is bad, because it's not. Just, I like Eau de Parfum Intense more. So yeah, along with that oud, you have a lot of citrus. You have a really prominent apple note. It's technically a mid note, I believe, but you can pick it up right away. Little patchouli, little vanilla, adding additional sweetness as it dries down. Really good scent to help you stand apart from the crowd, but still give you that designer sensibility that you want, along with a little bit of an edge. Follow that up with a beautiful bottle, Widian London. Look at that, it's a little piece of work. Artwork. This does have a similarity to a very well-known fragrance out there, a Tom Ford's Tuscan Leather. So it is right in that wheelhouse, right in that style. You also have oud in here. You've got a little bit of violet and vanilla, along with raspberry and leather. And that raspberry and leather is really what's gonna help tie this in to being a Tuscan leather type of scent. Now, of course, it doesn't smell exactly like Tuscan leather. You're gonna be able to pick out differences, but it's one of those things where if you're familiar with Tuscan leather, then when you spray this on, you'll be like, okay, I got it. Very smooth, rich, and elegant, extremely high quality London. A fantastic fragrance for fall and winter time. Cuts through the cold, and as long as you don't go crazy heavy with the trigger, not too cloying. The final scent in today's list is from Ferragamo, and it is Uomo Signature. I love Uomo, and I love Uomo Signature. I just realized I love Uomo. It's not really funny, but
Uomo. Man.
Yeah, I love man. So Uomo Signature, this is an amped up version of the original Uomo. It has that tiramisu, that coffee, that roast coffee that is quite sweet. It has fantastic performance, kind of a leathery undertone to it. You have some warm spices in here, cinnamon, cardamom. It has a bit of tonka in there as well. And the price point is really good for this one. Quality, in my opinion, much higher than the price you'll pay for it at discounters. Uomo and Uomo Signature are two great under the radar fragrances at this point for fall and winter time. And they hold their own against the big boys, you know, the huge compliment getters for fall and winter time. Uomo and Uomo Signature from Ferragamo, they get the job done. All right, that will do it for me. I want to thank you guys for hanging with me here until the end. Stay safe out there. I'll see you tomorrow with another fragrance video. See you guys later.